How to build a fire. Fire can be the difference between life and death. It is imperative that you are able to light a fire under any conditions, anywhere in the world. The most important uses of fire are for boiling water, signaling, cooking, and protection from animals and flying insects. But because 90% of the diseases that are carried in water can be countered by boiling water, it is vital that you learn the skill of fire lighting. However, you don't need to boil rainwater, as it won't carry any of the bacteria found in the other water sources that you will encounter. Fire can help make or fashion tools. You can fire hardened bamboo to make a spoon, while charcoal can be used to burn out a hole. This can be safer than cutting the hole yourself, which could lead to injuring yourself. When lighting a fire, always ensure adequate ventilation, with enough fuel and hot enough source to ignite this fuel. To produce flame, this temperature must be maintained to keep air and fuel continuously reacting. The more oxygen introduced, the brighter the fire. By using the wind or forcing a drought, the fire is fanned to a high temperature and rapidly burns fuel. By reducing the ventilation, the fire burns less fiercely and embers are allowed to glow, needing less fuel. If these principles are understood, smoky fires can be avoided. Smoke is the result of incomplete combustion, which, with care, can smoke be virtually eliminated. Practice fire lighting. Fire is essential to survival. It provides warmth, protection, and means of signaling, boils water, and cooks and preserves food. You must learn to light a fire anywhere under any condition. It isn't enough to know all the methods. You have to be an expert at them. Preparation. First, make sure that you have sufficient quantities of tinder, kindling, and fuel. Then prepare a fireplace so that you can control the fire. Used carelessly, fire can get out of hand and bring disaster. The fireplace. The fireplace needs to be prepared carefully. Choose a site that is sheltered, especially during high winds. Except for signaling purposes or exceptional to a warm temporary bow or snow hole shelter, do not light a fire at the base of a tree or stump. Clear away leaves, twigs, moss, and dry grass from a circle at least 2 meters across and scrape everything away until you have a surface of bare earth. If the ground is wet or covered with snow, the fire must be built on a platform. Make this from a layer of green logs covered with a layer of earth or a layer of stones. Temple fire. If the land is swampy or the snow deep, a raised platform is needed. This is known as a temple fire. The hearth consists of a raised platform built of green timber. 4 uprights support cross pieces in their forks. Across them, a layer of green logs, and cover this with several inches of earth. Light a fire on top of this. A pole across upper forks on diagonally opposite uprights can support cooking pots. In windy conditions. If there are particularly strong winds, dig a trench and light your fire in it. Also good for windy conditions, encircle your fire with rocks to retain heat and conserve fuel. Use them to support cooking utensils. Their heat, as well as that from the fire, will keep things warm, and you can use the rocks themselves as bed warmers. Warning: avoid placing wet or porous rocks and stones near fires, especially rocks which have been submerged in water. They may explode when heated. Avoid slates and solder rocks, and test others by banging them together. Do not use any that crack, round, hollow, or flaky. If they contain moisture, it will expand faster than the stone and can make it explode, producing dangerous flying fragments which could take out an eye if you are close to the fire. Tinder. Tinder is any kind of material that makes the minimum of heat to make it catch a light. Good tinder needs only a spark to ignite it. Birch bark, dried grass, fine wood shavings, bird down, waxed paper, and cotton fluff from clothing all make good tinder. So do pulverized fir cones, pine needles, and the inner bark from cedar trees. Dried fungi are excellent if finely powdered and scorched, or charred cotton or linen, especially ground finely, are also among the best. Where insects, such as wood wasps, have been boring into trees, the fine dust they produce is good tinder, and powdery bird and bat droppings can also be used. The insides of birds' nests are usually lined with down feathers and ignite easily. Dry field mouse nests are also usable. Whatever tinder you use must be dry. It is a good idea to carry tinder with you in a waterproof container. Always keep an eye open for tinder to collect. Kindling. Kindling is the word used to raise the flames from the tinder so that larger and less combustible materials can be burned. The best kindling consists of small, dry twigs, and softer woods are preferable because they flare up quickly. Those that contain resins burn readily and make fire lighting a snip. The drawbacks of soft woods are that they tend to produce sparks and burn very fast. You may need more to get the main fuel going, and they are soon consumed if they form the main fuel themselves. Don't collect kindling straight from the earth. It is almost always damp. Take it from the standing deadwood. If the outside is damp, shave until the middle is reached. Make fire sticks. Shave sticks with shallow cuts to feather them. Preparing kindling in this way makes it catch light more freely and establishes a fire quickly. Fuel. Use dry wood from standing trees to get the fire going. Once it is established, you can use greener wood or dry out damp wood. As a general rule, the heavier the wood, the more the heat it will give. This applies to both dead and green wood. Mixing green and dry wood makes a long-lasting fire, which is especially useful at night. Hardwoods, hickory, beech, or oak, for instance, burn well, give off great heat, and last for a long time as hot coals. They keep a fire going through the night. Softwoods tend to burn too fast and give off sparks. The worst spark makers are cedar, alder, hemlock, spruce, pine, chestnut, and willow. Remember that damp wood is sometimes advantageous, producing smoke to keep off flies, midges, and mosquitoes, and burning longer so that it keeps the fire in. Dry wood across two supports above a fire, not so close that it is set alight. Lay green logs at an angle beside the fire, tapering away from the wind to speed combustion of a sluggish fire while drying them. Rest logs against a pot rail to dry. Build a woodshed, essential in wet weather. Set it close to the fire so that the fire's warmth will help dry the wood, but not so close that a spark could ignite it. Build 2 bays and use wood from one while the other batch dries. Save energy. Don't waste energy chopping logs. Break them by smashing them over a rock. If that does not work, feed them over the fire, letting them burn through in the middle. Or, if they are not so long, feed them end first into the fire. If it is absolutely necessary to split logs in order to conserve fuel, an axe is not needed. Even quite a small knife placed on the end of a log and hit with a rock may split it. Once begun, plug a wooden wedge in the open gap and drive this downward to complete the split. But if you only have one knife, don't take the risk of damaging it. Star fire. The fire is started where the ends of the large logs meet. Then when they are pushed inward as more fuel is needed. When not required to produce strong heat, they can be drawn apart, leaving glowing embers for cooking in the center. To resurrect the fire, push them together, and they soon take flame again. This type of fire is used mainly to conserve fuel, but also saves chopping wood.